So moving on to like other very important issues
The
as
one, the
to
biggest one. Do you want to? Do you
yeah.
are you trying to touch on the
No, no,
credit
go
system
ahead, go
thing,
ahead.
or because
No, no,
that's
go
one of
ahead,
the
go ahead.
biggest one they put with the agriculture. Then there's the credit system. They've been trying to sell this credit system so much that I think that many people are not buying it, and nobody outside of the APC is buying a credit system where, I mean, it's linked to mortgage, it's linked to student loan and all of those things. Is that what one? It's one of the most interesting parts of their manifesto, but I don't think anyone is buying it for sure.
Does it, I
Well,
mean, when
I think I don't think I have a problem with I don't think I have a problem with it, you know. Um for me, it's just my own personal opinion. I don't think I have a problem with the credit system if it's going to be effectively what's the word again how to use like this now. The English don't run come out. Oh. If it's going to be done properly,
Implemented. Okay.
implemented, yes, I don't have a problem with it. I think that it will help a lot of people to be able to stay away from crime. Because if some of these things that, like in other countries, you want to buy gadgets, you want to get a home, you don't need to have the money in cash. But in Nigeria, majority of like everything that we do is cash, 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 cash. You want to get a new iPhone, you need to have the cash. You want to get a new laptop, you want to get a house, you need to have the cash, or nobody's listening to you or whatsoever. I know that we have some credit facilities available, but it's not that widespread and everything. But for me, I think that that's if it's properly implemented, I don't think that it presents so much of a problem. But what I'm against, and this is just my own personal opinion, is putting our people in so much debt when we still have resources that are not even. Let me stop here. Sino should take over first before before I go
yeah,
too deep.
actually, when we speak to the idea of credit, right, we have some certain factors that we look at, yeah, and these things are very important before you can give out a credit. But I understand that this is a state-sponsored kind of idea, and there must be a little bit of twist to it. But very importantly, there's something we call the concept of character in credit, right? If you want to lend any person money, you are looking at the ability to pay back, right? So, for instance, if you are going to actually float a mortgage, also don't be surprised. We still have the Nigerian mortgage. Is it mortgage bank? Yeah, I think it exists. Some of us have our money there as we speak. But the point is, you might need to just make it more effective and efficient. Credit is not a bad thing, but I believe that within our context, credit for education may be a bad thing. And a lot of people will ask me, why are you saying this? Why are you saying that? Oh, sorry, pardon me. I do not intend for you to pardon me, anyways. But the point is, where are we exactly? Are we in a state where we think people have capacity, really? Right? And they will not ordinarily get disoriented when they hear issues around credit for learning. Do we, by chance, know the importance of getting as many people as possible educated? Because when you speak to credit, you are literally just saying, we want to improve the quality, Abi. That's the one leg. And then we want to increase the fee as well. But for people to be able to afford it, we want to give them credit. The point is, at the current level, we said it is subsidized reasonably, yeah? Are people able to afford it? That was in the university at some point, and they increased school fee to 19,700. Ali, sir, you'll be surprised by the number of people that almost dropped out and the people that dropped out from 5,500 to 19,700. At the current rate, where education is supposedly free at the primary level, yeah, and secondary level, more than 20 million Nigerians are out of school. Aside the tuition fee, people are worried about what they will eat when they go to that school. Oh, will you give them credit to feed too? I don't know, maybe this makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Do you, I mean, look at it like a parent that
Yeah,
can
yeah,
easily
yeah.
send the kid out to go hawk something
It's a
so that the family
holistic
can
thing.
feed. Yeah, it is not just about the education, it's about the whole system. And when you look at the whole system, you see that these people must be made to go to school at all costs. And you cannot, the APC way, pack all of them, put a cough in their hand, take them to school. No, you have to
They say
incentivize.
they are doing this thing. What's it called? A feeding program. I've just been introduced into that recently. I didn't even know there was that much. Should I say budget going into feeding children? Did anyone ever benefit from being fed at school? Because if you're looking to take kids away from the street, I think feeding them in school is even one way to do it, right? If they can go to school and they have their breakfast and lunch there, then during that period they are being taught that this is very primary school education level. I don't think the credit is applied to this one. I think the credit they spoke about is more tertiary education. But since we just thought about it in a holistic way, I'm just saying,
For
yeah,
me,
if they have,
yeah, I'm not even interested in this student loan idea. I think that's to the idea of
it's part
student
of the
loans
whole
is.
credit thing.
Yeah, it's part of. I mean, me, I'm more interested in like all this stuff besides education. I don't believe that we need to start getting our children into debt based on education. I think that's a very dumb idea at this particular point where we are in history. You see, one thing that people need to understand, you need to understand where you are at this current time. So where we are at this current time, when I made my research, I found out that most countries in the world, they had hit a certain literacy rates before they now started doing all this making education really expensive or whatsoever for people, right? We're in a country where majority of the graduates, about maybe 70% from my own estimation, they don't get jobs after they come out of the university. And you're now putting making them go pay for this thing, or getting them into debt that will wreck their life. Like, even in countries where they even have jobs for them, some of them don't pay up until they are like maybe 40 or even older than 40, and so on. So it's just so it's just a very stupid idea as far as I'm concerned. I feel like education in Nigeria at this particular time, it should be as subsidized as possible, or even free. And just like Sinosho said, children should be they should even be paid some amount of money, right? It's very, very possible if you do
But why do you think
calculation.
Nigerians struggle with the idea of being paid money, getting free education and being paid money? Do you think we we cannot reconcile with the idea of things being good? The AAC manifesto talked about that, right? Free education and a sort of structure that allows you to even get paid. But people are unable to see that.
People are not unable to see it. People cannot see. Lot of years of trauma, poverty, impoverishment, brutality. It leaves a lot of trauma in the system. And when you say people cannot see that, it presupposes that they have the sight, right? Quite a vast majority of the people only ears, and the people who speaks now are majorly people that have been bought over. So we cannot, in the real sense, start blaming the victim, which is why we also have to add our voices to the conversation, which is why I think we are here.
Yeah, so to answer your question, I've had this conversation with some people before, right? Mostly people that support the current president. And I think many of these people that support this particular individual, like, with all due respect, sometimes when I have conversations with them, they don't think of human beings as human beings. They think of human beings as possibly animals, because there was a comment that I made one day about where this man is coming from, his administration and everything, and being the godfather of the state and everything, and then some things that have happened, and someone was like, that's why it's never good to give them too much, because when you give them too much, you don't appreciate it. I'm like, hello, with taxpayers' money. This is not your money. This is money, Nigeria's money. So I think a lot of people don't. They are. I don't even know what the word is. I think a lot of people are not lateral thinkers. They are not creative thinkers. To solve problem solving is not is not a straight line. You need to be creative. And this is why majority, I'm not in support of when people say, oh, this person has been a captain of this industry, he has this, that degree. I want to know how, when I'm interviewing a candidate or when I'm listening to somebody talk, I want to know how creative you are. It's like the policy that APC has now that, or they're trying to implement, where they're talking about doctors and they are saying that, okay, because doctors are jackpying, right? They can't even come up with any entire, like, you see, these people don't think, they don't have that reasoning ability. You can't even come up with any plan to entice your doctors to come back to Nigeria. You can't even come up with any plan that entices your doctors, did I say governors, your doctors to stay in Nigeria. But the only plan that you can come up with, even with all of our national budget and all the consultants you can hire across the world, is that you must force them to stay in the country. So I think that they don't see human beings. The answer to your question is that they don't see human beings as human beings. They don't understand the necessities. That people are hungry in school. They don't understand that people are traumatized sometimes because they don't have access to funds. People are doing Yahoo just to survive in school. So I think that's basically it.
Omo, if you want to go into the the conversation of how people see
Yeah.
people in this world, we I feel like we've gotten to a point where, not even to digress too much, where we are not that sensitive to, you hear news of, oh, 20 people died or something like that, and it's just okay, another day. So that's where we are at. So when you even talk about people that have even gone through secondary school and now they might not be able to go to university, some people will tell you, school is not for everybody, or school
Mm-hmm.
is supposed to be for a particular set of people, and that particular candidate is still one that the youth love, right? So yeah, we are at a very interesting point in time.
Hmm. It's
I
just so
hope,
crazy.
I
But
hope
but
Sinosha is still there.
Yeah, but absolutely, I just think that when it comes to the giving out loans to people or having like a credit system where people can make purchases without necessarily having that particular amount that they need to buy it off in cash. I think that would really help a lot of our youths, a lot of young people. It's gonna help. It's gonna help me personally. I think that would be a very great idea. And
Mm.
but then when it comes to education, I don't think that we should be doing that. I think all of Nigeria's resources should go towards educating our people and, if possible, giving incentives to people to study because education is very, 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 very important at this particular time. So, yeah, yeah. Sign show.
Education, all
Where's Sign
around
show?
education, no, honestly, because this education
Yeah.
of a thing, yeah, sometimes when you say it, that's why many people nowadays they'll tell you, school is scam or anything like that. Education is not scam. I beg,
Yeah.
it's not
No,
scam. It's not scam. Getting
education is
educated,
not
maybe,
scam.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not. So people, maybe that's why people don't want to see the seriousness when you say education. It sounds, should I say broad? Sometimes it just sounds like people are just saying these things
If you are
like,
following
oh, okay,
somebody, if you are following
uh huh.
somebody whose college certificate shows female and is a male, right? If you are following somebody who
Huh?
failed in the university, right? If you are following somebody, right, who got distracted in university and then they never had time to succeed, even when they were being fed with full chicken as a university undergraduate, right, and their laundry is being done, you will never understand that education is important. And you will also never understand that education should have evolved from where it was some 30, 40 years ago, right?
Exactly.
We see a lot of people, they benefited from the system, right? But when you look at them closely, they are scholars. But when you look at them closely, they are not involved in the political space, right? Because they, for one, were about the fact that, oh, the space is not meant for people like us. That's why we said, pardon me, that's why we said a lot of touts have found their way into government in Nigeria, which is the reason why we must, as a matter of fact, purge them from the system. But education is very important, especially education that factors in the 21st century workforce requirement. educations that teaches finance professional, for instance, banking and finance, accounting, economics, business administration graduates on how to do financial modeling, how to do macroeconomic analysis, how to do equities analysis, fixed income analysis before they leave the university. So much that they already understand the use of Bloomberg terminal, the capital IQ of this world, Makabash, amongst other things that they will need in the workforce. Those are the kind of education we need now. Someone that our
Yeah.
graduates can be working for foreign companies, even from Nigeria. But anybody who still thinks education is not necessary, or perhaps it's not supposed to be an in thing, is probably still caught up in the 1970s and relating the ideas of education in 1970 to the realities of 2023. So I do not pay them any attention, anyways. I just focus on myself and the people I can contribute to their education needs. So I had to keep quiet for a moment because it got to me when Dorothy actually said they see our people as animals. And I figured out that the
Mm.
way they've been treating our people really shows how they see them. They treat our people like animals, so they must see them as animals to treat them that way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Like it's the truth. Just try and listen to them without arguing. Like sometimes we always in this back and forth. Sometimes I think maybe Halisa would even know more about this because I think she has observed everybody silently. Even before contributing her own thoughts. Like if you try and listen to some of these people when they talk without arguing with them, you'll understand that these people are not talking about human beings. They are referring to animals. So whenever there's a demand for it's like the way we have pets in Nigeria. Let me not use in the Western world because in Western world pets get treated better than human beings in Nigeria. But they have this kind of thing that they do where it seems that we're asking for too much. We're asking for too much. So that's just it. But moving on, Halisa.
Yeah, the thing is the concept of the masses, and I think it needs to be rethought or something. Many people only are familiar with their own close circle, and if you see people that can come freely to have conversations about politics, about whatever, freely because they've reached a certain level of, should I say, financial freedom that allows them, or maybe passion, but I think mostly is because you're able to buy data and put your voice out there online. That's why you're disconnected from the masses for real. You have to
Hmm.
make yourself that you have to be intentional almost to know that this life is not just about me. It doesn't revolve around the cycle of people that I know. It's there are people out there. There are people out there. There are people in villages. There are people in areas where they've never seen electricity. There are some people that are in areas where they have only one teacher that comes to teach in that school, in a primary school in that area. And there's just so much reality, and majority of people in Nigeria are actually in that reality. Is that not why we're talking about 133 million people in multidimensional poverty? It might not ring. It might just maybe it seems like a jingle to some people, but it's real. It's real, right? So we might have to readdress the idea of the masses and reconnect ourselves to the masses, because it seems like there's a big gap. Majority of people have been saying that the middle class is disappearing, right, or has disappeared in Nigeria. So it's just some people that have and some people that do not have. But we really need to reconnect our
And
people
that's
with
why
people. Mhm.
that's why whenever I speak, right, I always speak with so much energy and passion, and that passion is coming from me being like with the people. Like I understand, like I've been there, I am still there. I consider myself as their representative because I understand that the child of a tomato seller in the market may not be able to, like you said, have data to come online and everything. But at least when God puts you in a place of a little bit of privilege, I'm still in the
Exactly.
process. But then when you have that opportunity to tackle these guys, because if you're in another country and you're enjoying yourself, some of these guys we're talking about something yesterday and one of them was drinking Hennessy while he was talking. Some people can never afford that kind of luxury, and you're saying, oh, you're painting this illusion that Nigeria is this wonderful place. Like sometimes you when these guys are talking, you have to go out and like open the door and like check, am I, is it that there's a place that is different. Yeah.